And so these obsessions and these flashbacks, they're crippling, they're frustrating, they are a nightmare. And so I'm going to shoot over to Julia and ask her, why are these happening? What is going on? Like, why can't we get a break from this? Like, we could will ourselves all day long. And I'm telling you, even when I was asleep, I would have nightmares. Like, I could not get away from this. And the nightmares might not be specific, but it would be like some crazy trauma that would bring it all up for me. And so there was just no escaping. And gosh, if I could have taken that away, I would have paid and done anything to make that stop.
Yeah. And I think, Melissa, just hearing your story about it, I think is going to be really healing for a lot of people. A lot of you guys watching this probably could totally relate to exactly what Melissa was talking about. And feeling alone and feeling crazy and feeling like, what's wrong with me? And why is my brain doing this to me? And am I broken? And, I already feel broken in all these other areas, but now my brain is going crazy in these ways and kind of torturing me with this stuff. Like, what is wrong with me? And so the first thing is acknowledging that as much as it feels like there's something wrong with you, that this is normal. This is what our brain does when it's trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. It's trying to find its footing. It's trying to figure out, like, what is happening here? Why is this happening? Why did this happen? And because our brain is always trying to get into a state of balance. And so sometimes when there's trauma, it severs that balance. It severs that safety. It severs that predictability in our brain, that things are going to be predictable, that we know what's happening and that we know what to expect. All of a sudden, this betrayal happens, and we no longer know what to expect. We no longer know what's happening. We no longer know what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's not. And so knowing that this is what's happening, that this is normal, and I don't know how much that helps to make the flashbacks go away, but maybe to helping us not judge ourselves and not feel so like even more crappy about ourselves by telling ourselves there's something weird or broken or flawed or crazy about us for having this stuff, to understand that our brain is just trying to either protect us by, replaying situations in our head so that the same thing doesn't happen again. Right? It's trying to prevent something horrible from happening again by replaying it. It's almost like, I don't want to forget. Like, your brain is, you want to forget, but your brain doesn't want to forget, because your brain is like, okay, like, I just want to keep remembering this stuff so that I can stay on guard and to prevent this from happening again. Or I think sometimes, for some of you, sometimes replaying things, and we obsessively think about stuff, and we go around in our heads, and it's almost like there's this feeling that if I can know what I did to cause this, or if I can know what to do differently to prevent it, I can almost like undo the whole thing. Like, our brain just kind of goes into this weird, and if we think about it logically, it makes no sense. But in those moments, our brain will go to that place because it's trying everything to make us feel safe again, to make us feel secure again, to help us to just be able to move forward. And so to acknowledge whatever the reason is that your brain is just, things have been turned on its head. It's not functioning in its safe, trustworthy, predictable space anymore. And it's like, I've just sort of like thrown all the cards up in the air, and they're all just sort of suspended in the air, and nothing is really it's all just chaos. And so just acknowledging that this is what's happening right now. And again, we've talked about this before, that trying to be compassionate towards ourselves, and to say there's no right way to grieve. There's no right way. There's no proper way to experience trauma. What is happening is what's happening. What is going on is what's going on. And to know that you're not alone in this. You're not weird or broken or crazy for experiencing this.